Welcome to your future business training. My name's Graham Park. You're obviously here today because you're looking to begin building a business for yourself, but not by yourself. And the thing is that, we've all got choices in life. And this is a choice we're looking at now that the masses make. They sort of start out, spend first 20, 25 years acquiring skills, school, university, trade, apprentices, whatever direction, and then they spend the next 40, 45 years utilizing those skills, working and earning a living. And then they retire, hopefully, and have a little bit of enjoyment, and then life sort of tapers down. And when you look at it like that, you start realizing, there's not a big part of that you really had a lot of time to enjoy life. And so I think everyone has the choices. And pretty obvious you're here looking for a different choice than the masses have made. So that's what we want to present to you today. And we'll have a look at a different lifestyle. You'd still really go through the same early period acquiring those skills. But once you've done that, and you're going to work hard, and you're going to work hard whatever you do. But then by getting in the business we're talking about, you get to work smart for a while. And then you get a much longer period of enjoying life because your business life doesn't have to end. You can flex it around all your life choices at the same time enjoying life. It's that flexibility that you're in control and not someone else being in control of your life. You get to choose when you take a break. You get to choose when you go on holidays. You get to choose what you do. You get to choose when you spend time with family, and versus a boss, or versus in many fixed small businesses, the customer making all those decisions for you. This is about putting you in control. And I know that 20 years ago, I was feeling very financially trapped. I was working for a company, large company, Elders Pastoral, which is an agribusiness company, and great company, but honestly it was like every month we were going slightly backwards financially. We had two really young kids, and it was, one month the fridge would break or something else had happened, and you just get that little bit behind every month, and you just felt trapped, or I did. And my wife and I started looking around for another business, and we really looked at a lot of businesses. We probably spent 6 or 8 months looking at businesses all up and down the east coast of Australia. And we looked at everything from pizza franchises to news agents to motels, all the sort of typical husband-wife type businesses that people look at. Well, fortunately, about that time, a gentleman called me, and he called me from Canada, and he started telling me about this new business that was launching in Australia and how it would be all wonderful and we'd all be millionaires. And that's the only part I really was interested in. I thought, whoa, that sounds good, the money part. But when I started learning that it had to do with anti-aging and direct sales and networking, I thought, no, this is not a real business. I wasn't interested at all. But fortunately, he persisted, gave me some information, and I trialed it, and I looked at the products, and I got opinions from people on the products, and they loved them. And so I got started, and I worked part-time, probably 6 to 8 months before I earned enough money, so I was earning as much part-time as I was earning full-time with my day job. And so that was the big thing for me why I ever got in this business in the first place, is I was able to start it part-time. So it fixed the biggest problem I had with going into business, and that is I had to walk away from a relatively secure income at a big corporation. I had to give that up for most businesses and start with a whole business. And that may work, it may not work. And that's scary when you've got family or you've got responsibilities. It's just scary. And so I never would have gotten this business if I'd had to start full-time. Fortunately, even though I felt a bit trapped, I was able to start part-time, see if it worked, because to be blunt, I didn't think it would work. I came from a business dealing with people and cows and sheep, and not exactly a great business to be in the anti-aging business. You know, I was used to looking at the back end of cows, not the front end of people. And so but I got involved, gave it a test, put my toe in the water, because I like the company, I like what they seem to be doing. And the beautiful thing is now 20 years later, that's Lynn and I, we've got choices. And we were down near Cape Town in South Africa, and we've got choices. We get to go where we want, when we want, with who we want. And it's really radically shifted our life. It's shifted our life financially. It's shifted it in the people we know. We've got friends all around the world, business in literally in 30-some countries. We get to travel at our own pace and do our own thing, and it's just it's amazing is what it is. And it allows me in particular to pursue my passion, which is working with Nourish the Children, which is an initiative we have through our business that feeds kids in Africa. And this is me over in Malawi in Africa. It's just north of Zambia. And Lynn and I were there working for 10 days or so with all the kids, and there with their agricultural minister and other people, being able to do those things. We just couldn't do those. When I worked for other people and everything else, you didn't have the opportunity to do those. So it's been incredible. But this isn't about any success I had. It's about what the opportunity is right now, and why we're at a point right now where we've got this ground floor opportunity opening up, but with this partnering with a really experienced partner, Newskin. And in doing that, it's really about who else can, how much chance is there for everyone else to make money and do well. Well, here's the proven compensation. Already in our company, there's been over 1,350 people who have earned more than $1 million US each. So that's about 1.3, 1.4 million Australian dollars at the moment each in net income. I'm not talking about turnover. I'm talking about in net income. And that's pretty impressive. This is a company that's not afraid to pay people. And so with that, now, why is it that a cutting-edge thing? Because realistically, change is driving new business opportunities. And you've just got to think about how business is changing all around us at a really rapid pace. Think about TripAdvisor. I'm sure most of the people seeing this training, you know what TripAdvisor is. It's the world's largest travel agent. It creates revenue by letting their customers do the marketing for them by personal recommendations. They don't have any shops, they don't have any retail stores, and we do the work for them. We rate everywhere. It's incredible concept. And then look at another one everyone knows about, Facebook, the world's most popular media owner, and they create no content. Why do I say it's a media owner? Because most of the media that you put up on Facebook, if you read their information, they actually own it. Now, they don't have to create any content. We create it for them. Look at Uber. They've been in the news all around Australia recently, a world leader in transportation. They're the world's largest taxi service, if you want to call it a taxi service right now. And yet they own no cars, 0 cars. And yet they're the world's largest transportation company. Quite incredible. Look at Airbnb. Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation chain. So bigger than any hotel chain out there, bigger than anyone in the accommodation business, and they own 0 rooms. They've got no real estate at all. And we're talking today about your future business, and your future business is going to allow you to leverage in exactly the same way as Airbnb, Uber, Facebook, and TripAdvisor, with no inventory, no employees, no building leases, none of those traditional costs that make it so risky and so expensive to go into business. And it's following some certain trends in the marketplace. And the first one we want to look at that is huge, it's an absolute mega trend called anti-aging. If anti-aging isn't the world's fastest growing industry, it's right up there in the top 2 or 3. It is just going crazy. We've got populations around the world aging, and They don't like aging. They don't like waking up with more wrinkles. They don't like having less energy. And that ties directly into health and wellness, which is growing as a part of anti-aging. People want more energy. They want to be healthier. They want better lifestyles. Going from that, we've got all the technology and communication as evidenced by Facebook and all those businesses we just talked about. None of those could exist without that technology, and neither could we. Then you've got the supplemental income boom, and that is that we're in very uncertain times. You've only got to look at the news. I think we all feel there's a lot going on in the world right now. None of us are sure of what's happening from day to day. Stock markets up and down, everything else. When that occurs, people always start looking around for a plan B and have some supplemental income. They all start looking for a plan B. That makes our business hotter, more popular, everything related to that. Subscription-based business. We're going to talk a lot about this during this training. Subscription-based business is essentially a business that's got recurring income because people reorder all the time on an automated fashion. It's an amazing way to do business. In fact, some people refer to it as a subscription revolution. Because it literally is changing the face of a lot of businesses. It's literally recurring revenue magic. And if you want to think about some of the companies that use that, think about MYOB or Foxtel or Netflix or Telstra or Vodafone or the insurance industry. It was only a few years ago insurance companies used to actually penalize you for wanting to pay monthly by charging you higher fees. Now they only want monthly. Everyone's going to the subscription model where you're just paying something every month because it gives them an incredibly secure cash flow amongst other things. And let's look at for a moment. I want to give you one example and just talk about it for a moment to show you clearly on this, and that's Netflix. Netflix has only been in Australia less than 2 years. Last year, 2.75 million Australians used their service. They only charge $10, $12 a month to watch online movies and TV shows. Worldwide, they got over 50 million subscribers. In US dollars, 5.74 billion in revenue. So that's about, 8 billion Australian dollars. And from that, they made 260 million US, so about 350 million profit. That's an incredible business model. It is 100% subscription based. And the business we're talking to you about today is between 70 and 80% subscription-based. Very, very important. Now, what you'll notice if you go back and we think about those companies we talked about, they're in services for the most part. But what's happened is physical delivery of products is getting wider and wider, and the entertainment area of our house is taken care of, and this area of our house is taken care of. But let's look for a couple of areas that are wide open for this subscription model. The open subscription areas is the bathroom. The bathroom, we spend huge amounts of money. We do it over and over and over again. We don't want to run out of products. It's a headache when we run out because we're buying the same thing every time. When's the last time you changed toothpaste and things along that line? And the vitamin shelf. Who wants to run out of vitamins? Oh, I got to go to the health food store and get more. So these two areas are wide open in the house, and they're areas where people spend a lot of money. And that's where we're positioned right now with the innovation through our 75 or 80 scientists in-house in our scientific research facility in the US. We're developing new products in this AgeLock brand, which is our premium anti-aging brand, and we use a lot of technology, a lot of devices that deliver things to the consumer. And I just want to take you through and show you why there's a real ground floor position here to grab some market share very quickly in this market right now. But I'll give you a little bit of history first. About disruptive technology that we've done through AgeLock, and you start looking at some of the turnover of some of these products, and they were only introduced, 4 or 5 years ago, and you start looking 1.8 billion. Here's one that was only introduced in February, 186 million already. One that's only introduced mid-year, 150 million. In fact, that did 70-some million its first day, and we only offered it to existing subscribers. Very, very successful track record of introducing new and disruptive products that disrupt existing industries. And there's two right now that we're in the midst of launching into the Asia-Pacific marketplace and the Australian marketplace. One's a product called Y-Span, which is an internal anti-aging product. I'll talk about it in a moment. And the other is a device called AgeLock Me, which is literally revolutionizing the skincare industry. It's an individualized, highly customized system for delivering skincare that's custom designed for each person. I want to take you through these two in a little bit of detail. First, we'll talk for a moment about the Y-Span and how it works. What it does is it works on our aging defense mechanisms. So it's building up our aging defense mechanisms, and it's giving us antioxidants, it's detoxifying and repairing stress, DNA protection, tissue renewal, affecting our metabolism. The big one, most age-related issues tend to be related to chronic inflammation, and this product does an amazing job of addressing internal inflammatory balance and getting it back in balance. We're seeing amazing results with this product. As an example, it's literally sales have increased in double digits every month since we introduced it just about 6 months ago. And we've literally run out twice for a few days just because the sales are so far ahead of our own expectations. We're not advertising. We're not going out and doing media on it. This is purely on people telling people and coming back to us. We believe this product alone could be a $100 million product in the Australia-New Zealand marketplace very, very quickly. It's so different than anything out there. A couple of studies that they've done, and I'll run through quite quickly. I don't want to bore you with the studies, but essentially, if we look at it here, they took study on and put something on the skin to cause inflammation, and you can see the inflammation, and as you go to the right, there's a larger area of inflammation. And you look down there, the average number of damaged cells is 27.8. That's before they started taking the AgeLock Y-Span, which is an internal product, not a cream or something. After they took it for 8 weeks, look what happened. From 27.8 down to 9.7. That's an incredible lowering of inflammation, and that's critical with it. Let's take a look at another one on this, and that is that it lifts your antioxidant levels. This is a study we did over 12 weeks, and the green line there that stays pretty level, that's the control group. They were just given, you know, a placebo, so they weren't getting anything that would make any difference. And then you see the people that were given Y-Span, and you see what happened. Their antioxidant levels increased markedly. Now, with doing that, what that means is that, excuse me, what that means is that's your protection. The higher our antioxidant levels are, the better our body's protecting itself from free radical damage and other sort of damages. So very, very important that it does that. Let's look at another clinical study of Y-Span, and that's on brain metabolism, brain structure, and connectivity. And the ones on the left, you can see the little colored spots, which is the brain activity, how it's working. And look on the right, this was after 8 weeks on Y-Span. And look what's happened, how much larger those areas are of activity. And I can tell you over and over, we keep hearing from people how they feel brighter, clearer, they're communicating better, they can focus better, all sorts of things. With this, it has an effect on that works very, very well. We're hearing back over and over. So it's working on all these different areas. So it's a literal whole body experience. It's very, very different than any supplement that's ever come along before. This is not, a multivitamin. This is a very, very different approach to supplementation. I've been involved in supplementation for 20 years, and I've never seen anything like this. This product alone has $100 million potential in this marketplace. Now, moving to the other one of those two products that are brand new and just being introduced in the market right now, and that's the AgeLock Me. Called Me because it's very customized. Even as we were launching it, these aren't ads. These are editorials we were getting around the world from Vogue and Elle and all these magazines, and I could literally put up, there was over 150 international articles during our launch period because it's so different. This is as different as the iPod was to the old, music industry where you had to take a disc player with you everywhere. This is a radically different approach. And what it does, it takes the connectivity and the app on your phone, and you have a custom design, and you actually design your own skincare program. It's then delivered to your door on the same day every month, and you can change that when the seasons change. There's more than 2,000 varieties or variations of skincare. So it's customized to you, hence the name AgeLock Me. And then that goes in the device, and it's delivered directly to your hand from your little personal skincare lab in the bathroom. Little light flashes, you stick your hand under it, and out comes a serum, and then secondarily out comes a moisturizer when you put your hand under again, and it does all that for you automatically. And because it's mixing it within its own little skincare lab on site, we don't have to use all the preservatives and things, and it makes it so much more effective in delivering it, and people that are using it are just seeing amazing results there. It's very, very cutting edge in that area. So really, we look at the future's there, and it's, are you ready? You may be more interested in one of those or the other, and that's fine. You get do what you're interested in as far as part of this as a business, and run with it. But they're both $100 million markets each in this market, in the Australian or Australian-New Zealand marketplace. And they're both highly disruptive. And what disruptive means is disruptive innovation is an innovation that creates a new market and a value network that eventually disrupts an existing market. Think about the smartphone, how that disrupted the old phone market. Think about those home coffee makers with the little capsules, how they've disrupted the high-dollar cappuccino machine at home that was much more complex. They've made huge shifts, and there's actually a lot more money selling the little capsules than the coffee machines. This whole idea of innovation, that's what we've been very, very good at. And we've got two right now. They're going to innovate markets for a decade to come. And we've got things lined up to be released in the next 12 or 18 months to follow up on that with innovation in other areas. And that's why we have that 75, 80 scientists working away. It gives us a window. We're currently in the Australian market sitting at somewhere around $40 million turnover. By 2020, we're on track to be well over $100 million a year consistently, not to have one big year, but to be consistently over that. That means for those of us starting now, we've got potential to get a big share of that market because we're only at 40, we're going to over 100. There's $60, $70 million at play in there. But if we start later, obviously there's not as much market share available. So for those of you looking to build a business who don't want to miss out on market share, you want to look at it. The timing is exceptional, especially with the Y-span and so forth right now. What we're doing in the business model is we take connectivity, which has been enhanced by the smartphones and social media and everything else, use that to link with customers, and then highly customized products for them so that they know they're in charge and putting the customer in control, and then they love us for doing that. And we build distribution networks around that concept, and it's just like going out and building little mini franchises, and you're going to build more of them and more of them and more of them, and as you do one yourself and then build others, you become more experienced, and the more you build, obviously, the more income you produce and the more volume of products that move through it. We have a very simple 4-step plan for that, and that is people get involved in the business, and obviously they've got to learn the new business. And we regard that first step of learning is from the day they start until they've developed themselves as like a mini franchise, a little business. and they've found and developed 4 others, and we help them through that first stage. So we're there to hold their hand, get them through that. And for doing that, obviously they earn money going through, but they also get a great trip. In fact, our trip next year, I was just looking at the pictures of where we're going. We're going to Greece for a week, and just fantastic. And that's not just for one person, that's for 2, all expenses paid for getting to there. Second step, acquiring more skills. Now you've learned the business a little enough to have developed 4 other business owners along with yourself. Now you start acquiring more skills and becoming a bit more self-sufficient yourself. And by the time you then get to having developed 6 other business owners, not 6 in addition to the 4, 6 total, so 2 more. By the time you do that, obviously you're making more money, but we're going to let you go on another trip as well. Step 3, you're improving those skills. You've already developed 6 fellow business owners. Now we're going to get you to develop a total of 8, so 2 more. And as you've done that, you'll get even another trip along with obviously a lot more income. And fourth step is mastering those skills. Now this is not happening overnight. This may be a 2-year process, it may be a 5-year process, it may be a 12-month process. It depends on you. By then you've developed 12 business owners, and you're also got another trip, but really at this point you've got a very, very solid, large and exciting business. And look at the actual monthly royalties that they're paying out, and you'll see when they get to that 4, these are quoted in US dollars simply because it's the closest thing to a global currency, and the company operates in 54 countries. So about 30,000, that's about 40-some thousand Australian dollars a year right now at that first level, that 4. Then you go through to the 8 level, that's about 130,000 Australian dollars right now. At that point, most people start considering going full-time. You know, that's enough to get their attention away from other projects they may be working on, and they start going, wait a minute, this is pretty good. Because at that 4 level, 95% of those people will be part-time at the time they reach that level, whereas by the time at that 8 level, it starts changing. And then by the 12 level, you start seeing it's very, very lucrative. And for those few people that go through and get to that level, because obviously most people aren't that focused or willing to go through and build long-term, but they're pretty much all full-time at that point. Although there's no requirement to do that if you have a profession or something you really want to keep doing. And we do have a number of doctors and things that like keeping their hand in doing that, and so they'd still do some of that even though they don't need it financially anymore. But most people get in this business to make a little bit of extra money. And there's nothing wrong with that. They might be down there at the start at where we call executive, and they might be making themselves, a few $100s a month, and that's it. And that's fantastic, because what that does is create a system that's got tons and tons of small outlets of people just doing a little bit, getting their own product discounted, making a few dollars, having some flexibility in life, and then some people see it a bit more seriously and start moving forward. And you can see there they're willing to pay the money. Now, how do people get started? Very simply, we have high-value business packages that are available to suit your situation. They contain all products. It's all stuff with a value that you can use or sell. And they generally range between $500 and $2,000. How much you spend's up to you. You tend to find that people who are more serious about building something quickly and to higher levels will do the larger packs. But that's completely between you, and speak to the person who's introducing you to the business, and they'll talk about that one. We use a proven subscription business cycle model, and we'll take you through that and teach you how to on-sell that subscription cycle to consumers and fellow business owners. You got full support and mentoring by successful leaders. I can't say enough how important this is in any business venture. Having full support and mentoring by people who are already successful can make an absolute Huge difference, because you're not having to reinvent the wheel. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So you don't have to go out and do 6 or 8 years university. You go out and you've got someone by your side, a team of people who've already been through university, and they're saying, well, if you do this, this, and this. And so it's giving you, teaching you the right things to do, but also speeding up the process dramatically because there's so many successful people. There's no employees. There's no leased shops or offices or any of that stuff. You're not warehousing stuff. You don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars of product or anything else. So the overheads are incredibly low. And guess what? You also don't have creditors, because everyone pays for the product in advance. So when they order, they pay. So you don't have to worry about people owing you money everywhere. And if you've been in business before, you know that can be a real pain for people. You can begin part-time. So there's no risk to your current income of business. I said at the start, when I was working at Elders, that was the one thing that was holding me back from a lot of those other businesses, is that I had to walk away from what I was doing full-time and try something, leap into the unknown. Whereas with this, I was able to start part-time. Don't underestimate just how critical that really is. And the other thing that's critical is having a very good business partner. And in this, New Skin, the company behind AgeLock and behind what we're doing, is 30 years stable company, so you've got that stability of admin, of always paying their bills, of everything else, listed as one of the most 100 trustworthy companies in the United States by Forbes Business Magazine, the leading business magazine in the US, highest ranking financials on Dun & Bradstreet, all these other things, some $2.5 billion US or whatever that is, 3-point-some billion Australian dollars in turnover. But it's this ground floor opportunity they've got with the Y-Span and the Me right now that really puts things in place, and some of the changes they've made to both the compensation and the innovation on the device and product side that put us in the driver's seat, looking for people to help us set up the distribution networks for this through the Asia Pacific region right now. And so that hopefully giving you a little bit of an overview, a little bit of food for thought, so you can get back together with the person who got you to view this training, and hopefully, you can go back and review it if you need to. But it gives you some ideas, or it gives you some directed questions. And don't be afraid to ask any question you need to ask to make yourself more comfortable. Look, we know this business isn't for everyone. Different people like different things, and that's fine. No one's going to shove this down your throat. But for the right person, and I guess I was the right person, I was in the right place, it literally changed our family's future for generations to come. And so it's been absolutely incredible in doing that. But it's not for everyone. The products are for everyone. So if you decide you don't want to do it as a business, give the products a try, and you'll be amazed at how it improves your health and appearance and other things. But New Skin offers so much, and it offers to put you in control. And I think that was the big thing for me, was that freedom, that control over my own destiny, controlling my own life was really what I wanted. And it's what it's provided. And it can provide that for you too. So thanks very much for tuning in, and get back with whoever invited you to take a look at this, and have an absolutely great day.